Let's start in Ukraine, which has seen another major attack on Kyiv, this time the capital hit with explosive drones. According to President Zelensky's chief of staff, self-detonating drones supplied by Iran hit the city centre. The mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, said several residential buildings have been damaged. Let's take you live now to Kyiv. We can join our correspondent there, Hugo Bachega, who is back on the roof, Hugo, and you have been in the basement. Does that mean these attacks have stopped for now?
Yeah, Lucy, so we had the all clear from the authorities about 90 minutes ago, and they said 4 explosions had been confirmed. The first explosion happened this morning right after 6:30. 10 minutes later, there was another large explosion here in the city center. It was very close to our hotel. We understand that several residential buildings have been damaged. There is a rescue operation now for 3 people who are believed to be under the rubble. That's according to the mayor. We understand that one of the targets of the attacks was the headquarters of the energy company here in this country. And we don't have any information on casualties so far. And we had from the president's office an update saying that so-called kamikaze drones had been used in this morning's attacks. These are drones that have been supplied by the Iranians to the Russians, and Russian forces have been using those drones to attack civilian sites and civilian infrastructure across the country. And Russia has been stepping up attacks on electricity infrastructure in recent weeks ahead of winter, and it seems that today one of the targets again was civilian infrastructure related to the electricity system here in Ukraine.
Tell us more about these drones, Hugo, and how people respond to them. You can hear them in the sky. It's quite a different kind of sound to other attacks.
Yeah, and officials here say that Iran has provided hundreds of those drones to the Russians. Russia has been using those drones to attack cities across the country. The air defense system here in Ukraine has managed to intercept many of those drones, but this morning I think it's an example that these drones are penetrating the air defense systems here in Ukraine. And I think reaction to that happened earlier today, when we heard from a number of officials saying that Ukraine needs air defense systems to protect cities from the threat posed by those drones, also by Russian missiles. And last week, President Zelensky reacted to the fact that Iran has been providing Russia with those drones, describing it as collaboration with evil. So I'm sure that we're going to have more reaction later today. And in fact, we had a reaction from President Zelensky in the last half an hour or so, saying that all night and morning the enemy, referring to Russia, terrorizes the civilian population, referring to these attacks by missile and also by kamikaze drones.
Hugo, good to see you. Stay safe. Thanks for joining us from Kyiv. Well, the UK's Ministry of Defence issues a daily intelligence update on the war in Ukraine. It has previously touched on Russian difficulties in making enough missiles and noted that Moscow is thought to be using these drones, which appears to have been the case again on Monday morning. Today's update, though, looks at the effects of the explosion on Russian-built bridges, which link Russia to the annexed territory of Crimea. And what it notes is that the episode has had an effect on Russia's ability to supply its forces in Ukraine, saying that logistical issues faced by Russian forces in southern Ukraine have likely become more acute following damage to the Kerch Bridge on the 8th of October. And it adds that repair efforts are ongoing and it is open to some traffic. However, a large queue of waiting cargo truck remains backed up near the crossing. And we've just had a note from a spokesperson for the Ukrainian Air Force who has been speaking right now, saying that Ukraine, it says, has destroyed 85 to 86% of Russian drones involved in attacks since Sunday evening. So Hugo there, just talking about the robustness of Ukraine's air defense system. This is being backed up by an Air Force spokesperson saying they have actually destroyed 85% of these Russian drones.